There's an orb over your head.
Really?
Yes.
I'm probably 40 or 50 feet away from where I saw them. They just disappeared. Got my flashlight up. Let me turn my camera on. Hold on 1 second.
You got a light over your head.
Yeah.
Do you see the light?
Yeah.
There's an orb over your head.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, coming up. Can you see it behind the trees?
Yeah, it's behind the trees.
Actually, I see 2 of them.
Is there 2? I bet that lady on the other side is seeing all kind of shit over there. It's so quiet. So when it was verified by phone call that that little dinky airport over there wasn't having, you know, one plane after another every 5 minutes, you know, taking off, which is like 2-3 miles that way. I drove around here and I thought I saw something over that way, so I went down to the road on the backside of this fairway here. There's an access road there. And when I pulled in, there was a swirling plasma red ball thing right in front of me. I mean, from here to the edge of the thing away, I don't know, 600 feet, something like that, which I have on film. But those were the things that looked like fireballs that I was seeing moving through the woods here that would rise up to the top of the tree line, start to glow, collapse down, and then they were a craft. Is there 2? I bet that lady on the other side is seeing all kind of shit over there. Never seen a UFO. You know, I'd been in an astronomy club, camped out in blankets, waiting for meteor showers. That was the extent of my interest in it. And I thought, oh, well, that sounds great, but I'll believe it when I see it. Okay, he's still alive. He's not, he's missing these guys. They must be further over. With, I'd say these things that my daughter saw a craft below the tree line that came up to where there's high tension power lines and hovered over, and it was pulsating red and had a row of white lights. She goes, Mom, there was a really weird plane last night. You're gonna get mad, but I was on the phone. It was like 3:30 in the morning, talking to my friend on the phone. And she goes, it stopped and hovered over the neighbor's house there. I won't say their name. But we got real scared because it took off towards the direction of the kid she was talking to. And he saw 6 or 7 red lights coming at him. He thought they were coming for him, and he ducked. I sat on top of my roof one night. I almost fell off my roof, actually. I was up on the roof because I could see. I was trying to see over the tree line, you know, to see, you know, could I tell, you know, where they're coming from. There's a higher hill behind there. So I was up there looking with the night vision, and there were so many things around. I actually screamed, what the fuck is going on? I saw a V-shaped tumbling. It had to be, I'd say, 9-10 feet long. In the daytime, just tumbling. I found a picture of the exact same thing, because by the time I grabbed my camera, it was pretty far and it just looks like a little speck. But I started watching the sky, started getting equipment. The equipment was kind of disappointing. The $200-300 camera was disappointing, so I jumped up and went to the HD model, and I actually caught one of them on film. Great he is. Yeah. Wow. Look at that. Dad, look at this in my screen.
Wow, look at this, Jeremy. Look at this.
Whoa.
That is, oh man, look how bright he is. Look.
Whoa, what is that sparkles? What is
the
this
hell?
sparkles?
He's changing shape right in front of my eyes.
Is he? In the binoculars?
Yeah.
He's sparkly. What the hell? What
Wow.
is he doing?
Wow, look at that.
Look at that.
Dad, look at this in my... I posted it, and then shortly after, Tim from the nearby town of North Irwin said that I have these things I've caught on tape film, and how do I get that transposed over? So when he showed me where he thought it was Delmont, and then when he looked on the map, he said, no, that's over your area where these things are showing up, before dawn. I mean, before dark. And looked like a star, early star that poofed. And when he showed me the footage and how many times it had been happening, it seemed to coincide with when we'd see these things that looked like fireballs would rise from the woods and get super bright and then shrink down, and they blink like an aircraft and move off. Crazy as it sounds, until I checked with that airport, and they laughed at me. They said, "You're crazy, there's no planes taking off out of here at night." So the next time I saw them pop out and kept doing this, I drove around to the other side of the tree line where the golf course is, and in front of me was a swirling red plasma ball thing. I was like filming it going, well, there you go. That's these things that are popping out of the woods. And to see one do that, get real bright, shrink down, and blink like an aircraft, you have to see it in person, because there's no video, not even the HD cameras that I've had, that have been able to capture what you see with your eyes, because it's stunning, and it lights the sky up, lights the trees up when it does it, but the cameras are just... So I progressed and got night vision equipment, you know, $3,000 Generation 3, you know, with the big lens and stuff. And when I got that, I found out that these things are not really disappearing. What people say, well, there was a UFO, you know, a red light or green or whatever, and it just disappeared. I found out from that they don't really just disappear. I'd have 2 cameras running, and the color camera, it looked like it disappeared, but the night vision, it could still see them. So whatever they are, they can go out of visible spectrum.
They almost look like they were...
Okay, right above your head, right above your head. Look above your head. There's an orb up in the trees. A little to your right where you just had the flashlight.
Right there?
Yeah, over that way. There's a light shining through that tree.
I don't see it.
Look, he hit it and it went behind. Look, see behind there blinking? See something behind there blinking? It's probably going to pop on the other side of that damn field and be up in the sky in no time.
Well, I know one thing. If I start running, you better get out of the way.
Okay. Those leaves are still rustling.
No, I just heard it.
Oh, there's a flasher up in the sky. What? Oh, yeah, that other patch of woods. We have a hot tub out in the yard, and we started seeing what looked like too many meteors hitting one section of the woods where the golf course was unfinished. And then we'd see like these real fast white streak things, and then they'd hit the tree line, and then all of a sudden it'd glow, and you go, maybe the rotation of the earth, and now there's a star visible there that was blocked by leaves or a branch or something. So I ended up buying a $300 really good Sony chipset surveillance cam with 230-foot illuminators, and I just stuck it on a ladder and pointing it around the yard. Kept getting these raindrops on a clear. It looked like raindrops would be illuminated, you know. And then, but then I'd see these things whiz around, and then sometimes they'd stop, and they look like a little sphere, and they'd like be looking right at the camera, and they'd zip off. And so I'd said 6-hour recordings, because I wanted to know how often is this happening, you know, and what are these things. And then finally, after checking each section of the tree line, that area that got the most meteor hits was where these things would look like little, like a fire in the woods. And that fire would start rising up. And when it get to the top of the tree line, it'd do this supernova bright thing. And I'm like, what kind of lights did they have on planes that could be that bright? You know, it's ridiculous. And there was no flight checking stuff back then. They have flight aware now. You can see where real aircraft is. And I started chasing after them, driving down the road and going up to higher spots and seeing they were in different places. I've had people from different parts of Pittsburgh say, you know, after I started posting them online, that's when the harassment started a little bit, but all the people who have seen them, you know, were like, we saw that too, we saw that too. You know, this early, like they come and they check out the area, and if everything's, you know, nobody's set traps for them or something, then they decide to come down and patrol around. They go back and forth. They usually pace back and forth. Go bright, go back again, do that bright thing, back again 2 or 3 times, and then all of a sudden that'll dim down, and then they blink and move fast off, right? That's exactly their behavior. I mean, I saw a flaming fireball, and it started looking like little spitty sparks or something coming out of the fireball. And as it went on, the white and red sparks stretched out, and they started blinking like the tail of a helicopter. And I said, oh my God, they do, helicopters do. When I caught, I mean, from years and nights after nights and burning out a night vision camera, and on the second one now, from just trying to sneak up on them, and I'd sing songs, and it did work. It did work, because they knew me. I had an orange, or on my deck. My deck sticks out, and you know, I was at the edge of my deck, you know, pointing at the woods. It kept coming at it, and I was hitting them like with a little green laser to taunt them when I'd see the fireballs in there. Well, one night I was doing that, about, you know, at the edge of the doorway there. I mean, I'm looking this way, and whew, a green, fuzzy, dim thing dropped next to me.
Wow.
And I knew that it had to be them, like to see what I was up to, because I found out later that green lasers were often used on like rifles for sighting.
Oh.
So I tell people not to do that anymore, because they might take it the wrong way, you know. And I talked to it real nice, saying, I know we're just lowly, you know, primitive humans and things like that, but I know what you're doing, you know, and I'd like to know what your intentions are and stuff like that. But there was no response, no nothing.